Everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. It's Monday, in a different time. At a different time, we do apologize for that. We're not supposed to be in a different time, but people here in the United States are confused. They keep changing the time. So either we're in or out of daylight savings time. So those of you who are catching us at a different hour, I do apologize for that. Today is on MagStripes. We're going to be talking about that and some interesting things we discovered even today. If you go to fmtrain.tv, you got the live tab right here. As a reminder, if you want to support the channel and what we're doing, I bring you new information every day at 1 o'clock on Twitch, YouTube, and Discord in high definition. Check out our bundle here. Purchase one of these bundles. It really helps pay the bills and keeps everything running. Just feel free to ping us and let us know what's going on. If you have any questions or comments, send an email to support@RC Consulting. Support@rcconsulting.com is very valuable. So let's talk today about this topic, which is the MagStripes. My second project ever doing FileMaker work in 1990 was building software for a FileMaker software for a pawn shop. A pawn shop in the United States, I don't know what they call it in other countries, but people who have like a really nice, fancy gee-whiz laptop and they want to get a loan on it for some money, and then you pay the loan back. So if you need some cash real quick and then you'll pay it back in a week or 2 weeks or a month, then you can do that. And of course, some people then never come back, and then so part of the deal is to make sure there's not a bunch of stolen stuff that comes in there. People pawn it, they own it, it's not stolen. So one of the things they would do is they would use a driver's license card, like this is my driver's license card right here, California. And what they would do is they wanted to scan these, the information. So instead of typing, they would normally sit there and read this, and they would type on the keyboard, type. And very slow, very long. So they said, hey, we could save a ton of time if we could just swipe this. And so what I did in 1990, literally 30 years ago, over 30 years ago, was to build the tech and the barcode, not the barcode, but the MagStripe scanner at the time was from a company called Percon. I doubt they're in business anymore. And the unit was $600. It was like so expensive. And that was before the Chinese were making stuff, right? So everything was made in Europe or United States, or I guess Taiwan to a degree, but China wasn't doing cheap high tech. It was before Apple, before iPhones. Basically, internet didn't even hardly exist at that point. It was an AOL dial-up. You've got mail, right? So back in those days. So now these little boxes are less than $100, and the concept is the same. The same programming that we did back then is what we can do now. We haven't talked about this in a while, but I wanted to go through this for some of you who like, or maybe this will be a recording, you watch the recording, but have this knowledge in your tool set. So when someone comes and says to you, I want to scan a card. Now, with credit cards, we talked about this last week, that credit cards, especially the newer ones, have the chip on them, and scanning the chip is something that doesn't easily work with FileMaker because that's a very secure process. And so we're not talking about that. We're talking about a credit card, a driver's license, or any other ID card or card of whatever need. Even like if you go to your wallet, you could get like a card from your grocery store, like you're a recurring customer, a loyalty card, that kind of thing. And a lot of those don't have the security chip because the security chip's extra money. So when you do a loyalty card, the two ways, or a card like this, the two ways you do it, and they're doing this with this card too. It's a MagStripe. It's also, in this case, a 2D barcode. I haven't tried to read the 2D barcode. Of course, the first things people think is that, oh my gosh, this is your driver's license information. I'm trying to put my fingers over it so I don't expose all my personal secret information. But name and address and date of birth and all this kind of stuff. Well, if you swipe it, it has your driving records on it. It has your secret criminal records all on the MagStripe. No, all this is all the information that's on the front of the card is encoded either in that 2D barcode or it's encoded on the MagStripe. Now, on the MagStripe, these have the standard these days. It's called a 3-track. So there's three, kind of like a record player, or actually I think it's probably the same technology as in a cassette tape or an 8-track tape. It's a tape with magnetic strips in there. And so there's 3 tracks in here, and the data is encoded in there. And this little device here works just like a barcode gun. I don't have one in front of me. I might see if I can find one for you. But a barcode gun that plugs into your USB, right? And so all it does is it types really rapidly into the keyboard for you. So when you swipe, as part of your process up here, you're going to want to make sure that somehow you've clicked into a field as part of your script, right? So you've clicked into a field as part of your script, and then when you swipe, it's going to go almost instantaneously, like the fastest secretarial typist person, personal assistant you've ever had. It's going to type, and and suddenly you'll have 2 lines, like it'll have like about this much data, and it's all ugly, and it shows up literally almost instantly. It's like, right? And so it works the same way as a lot of barcode scan guns through USB. So it's simulating a keyboard. It thinks it's a keyboard. When I plug this in, the Mac goes, hey, you've got a keyboard. Tell us what kind of keyboard. And I just tell it it's an American ANSI keyboard, because it can't identify it, because it's not really a keyboard. Same thing happens with the scan guns, right? A 1D gun or a 2D gun. If you scan that block of data with a 2D gun, it's going to do the same thing. With a 1D gun, it's just going to zap like a serial number. Is what that's primarily there for. When you go to a grocery store and you're zapping the barcodes off the cans, right? You know, these USP, that code. That's a 1D barcode, right? The little checkery ones here that those of you have seen, that's like a 2D barcode, right? And so so that's, you know, then this contains a whole big like paragraph of text, whereas this one is just all that is a primary key. So every product has a unique record, a unique product ID. Every record has a unique ID. Every product has a unique product, and that code right there is specific to that product line. So questions, driver's license seem to be in various QR types. Yeah, so what's important to understand is that, and then we're not really talking about barcodes today. We can bring that up on a different day. But there are different fonts. Like, so this is whatever this is, a UPC code. It might be, I don't think it's 309. It's a different, it's a style. The way those little lines are done in there, that's specific style and a specific font, okay? There, in terms of a 1D barcode, there's probably 20, 30, 40 different fonts out there. And not every scan gun can read them. So part of when you're setting this up is to figure out, what's the font? Can I read it? Buy a test device before you commit to it. Make sure it can work with the computer, right? And when you test it with FileMaker, does it work with FileMaker? All you have to do is make sure it's going to, like, click the cursor into like a Word file and scan it, right? Click the cursor into a Word file and scan it. In fact, we'll probably do that. We'll play with that a little bit for you if I have a chance. That'll be great. So what we're going to do is talk about what we did here in Starting Point. The idea with Starting Point was that we wanted to the data that's on these MagStripes basically is the same as in the barcode, right? And so when you swipe it, it's going to, it gives you this big junk of stuff in there, and you can see your name and various pieces like that. We're going to look at this. We're going to talk about it. But how you parse it apart and tear it apart can be done 100 different ways. With FileMaker, we have all these tools like get this character and get this character. And so there's a lot of things you can do with that. Yeah, Ron Mailsoft, code 3 of 9 and 8-track tapes. Yeah, but I think this is that same kind of technology. With the mag, the way they lay that in there. It's a hard card, what we call a hard plastic card, right? It's kind of a hard card. But, and I'll get some other hard cards out. I'll find my wallet and I'll find some other ones we can play with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this real quick. Now, what I'm going to do for the moment on this is I'm going to suppress. So what I did is I pressed the button. We're on a layout, okay? And we're, and Michael, are you there? Michael's there, my assistant today. Michael. Are you putting this into a copy of Starting Point so we can let people have this sample file?
Yes, sir.
Is it done yet? When's it going to be done?
It's going to be done before this broadcast is over.
Okay, cool. All right, so what I've done is he's going to give you a copy of Starting Point that does this, but all this is a card style window. All this is a field right here, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down here on the edge of the screen because I don't want you to see all my personal data. Now, you say, well, why don't you use it at conceal box? Very interesting. We'll talk about that. But the idea is that you're as you're scanning people's stuff, obviously you have access to it. I'm scanning this on the internet, and everyone can see this, and I really don't want to have all my private information out there flying around. I don't really care how old you think you are, but I don't need Ron at MailSoft getting a house loan, a new loan for a house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that, you're going to see it down there at the bottom of the screen. I don't know if you're going to see that. I'm going to swipe this. You're going to hear it beep. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the return key, and the script is going to parse it apart. So I'm going to go and do this. Okay. And actually, it went almost, oh, it boogered. Ah. All right, we're going to try it again. I swiped it too fast. Sometimes you can swipe these too fast, and it gets a little goofy. We're going to try it. Do it nice and slow. Oh, it's very unhappy with me. Try that again. I've been sitting here holding it. Now, this also is an issue right here. You're like, wow, that's not working very good. This is the $16 or $17 magnetic scan swiper thing. I highly recommend you don't buy one that's this big of a piece of shit, okay? I just reordered another one that's about 80 bucks. I think it'll give us better results, but this thing is dog doo-doo, right, in terms of reliability. And so that time it went just fine. And so what I did is that it took the information out of, and it's kind of misparsed it a little bit because this scan device is a low quality Amazon one. So it's one of those things on Amazon where something, if you buy something, is 10 bucks, it's as good as a $100 one. In the case of these little guys, that is not a true statement. It's not a true statement. Whereas barcode guns, very rarely it's hard to have a bad barcode gun that I found. These little guys here, because there's a physical sensor, a physical scanner in there, they can be kind of questionable. So now notice the photo of my wonderful smiling face is not a base 64 encoded object on the card. So the photo is up with the government, but it's actually not on the back of the card, which is interesting because that could have been kind of cool, right? So I'm going to put it down here again where it's hiding off the bottom of the screen. Saying it one more time. There it goes. Now that one, it took a correct one there. So yeah, so all sorts of fun stuff that we have here. So what I'm going to do is switch over to a different database here. Can you give me a string, a sample string? Michael, put it in a record for me, and then delete my records out of there, and we'll play with our sample data. But I can't really bring it up on screen without everyone seeing it, so I'd prefer not to do that.
Yeah, I can do that.
So the basically idea is it types into the keyboard very fast, and then it goes through that process. So actually, we could flip to your screen if you want to show us your screen and walk through how this works. Would you like to do that? So everyone, we're gonna let Michael attempt to teach us something, right? Or you want to try this, Michael?
Let me give it a shot.
Share your screen, and then you have this sample one that's not. It's got fake data, kind of more or less. Yes.
Yes, I do.
Cool. All right, why don't you do that?
All right.
All right, so I'm gonna kind of get myself out of the way down here, and I'm gonna go full screen with you. All right, so we can see your screen, Michael. So why don't you pretend like we're in a coaching session, since you're a coach, and explain to us how this works, right?
Okay. Well, as Richard said, when you scan the data, it's going to come to you in a really crazy looking string, and I'm just going to pull that over for you right here, so you can kind of see what's going on. This is fake data. This isn't Richard's stuff, so don't go trying to buy stuff. Don't go like he said, trying to buy a home. That's no good. But it comes to us in this weird string. It's got percentage, chevrons, dollar signs, all this crazy stuff. And we need to parse through that data because this doesn't really do us any good in its current form. And so we're going to take a look at the custom function that we use for this. So go up into custom functions, and it's this custom function right here, driver's license parse, which we will be putting into the FileMaker starting point sample file that you guys will be able to get at the end of this meeting here.
Hopefully at the end, because now you're demoing, you're not working on it. So it might be tomorrow.
Now I'm not working.
It might be tomorrow. So yes.
Regardless, it will be in the next 24 hours if I can't get it done before this video is finished.
Okay.
So basically what it is it's just a giant let statement. And what it does is it has one single input, which is your text, and it does a bunch of substituting. So if I pull up that this guy here, so you kind of see what's going on. It parses through and it pulls out, the question mark, the percentage signs, exclamation points, and any of these weird characters that it doesn't like, it's going to replace it with a carriage return. And then once you've done that, you just have to target the correct data, the correct line from each value here. So what I want to do is I'm going to pull this to the side just so you can kind of get an idea of what's going on here, and then we'll come back to this this custom function and have a little more fun with it. So I'm going to just say okay. I'm going to say okay. I'm going to pop this up into my my data viewer here. So if I come here and I say add, we're just going to add that entire custom function. And it's giving us a table missing because obviously text is not there. So if I copy this, I'm just going to hard code that sample data that we have into text. I have to put it in quotes so it knows what we're doing. And now you can kind of see what's going on here. It takes everything and it puts it into a list of values. And what's interesting here, if I pull this down, the reason I like to pull it into the data viewer here is so that we can kind of see exactly what's going on with everything. So let's see where I'm at. So it starts by getting the city, which is it takes the middle of text, line 1. Actually, that's not true. That's not line 1. Where am I? Where is it at? Let me just kind of look through this one more time.
Well, that's fine. You can find that. But real quick, understanding these middle functions, for those of you, middle functions, okay, so just to help everyone out, since everyone's been on a kick lately to get certified, that right there is on the test, certification test. That right there is on the certification test. I'm not giving you the question. I'm just telling you they will explicitly test it. You know that. The position function is on the test. The left function is on the test. The right function is on the test. The let function, doing a let and defining global variables is on the test, right? Defining variables on the test, right? The date function, I think, is on the test as well. Understand how the date works, right? Function. So pretty much this entire function. The other part to understand about this is it's specific to the California driver's license, and at least the ones we're playing with. It doesn't necessarily reflect upon the mag card that you might have in your wallet, right? And so we're gonna, and I'll do that in a second. We'll play with that a little bit, but go ahead and go. Are you ready, Michael, to proceed here?
Yeah, I am. So again, the reason why I brought it in here is because I want to kind of show you a little pre-formatting what happens before it gets down into this stuff here. So if I change the result here to text 1, you can see it says California Fairfield. So it gives you the city and the state in the same line. And so when you go to find the date, you would have to use the left function and the right function on text 1. Which is right, where is it? Right here, city, see, middle. So they're using middle here in this custom function. So I'm just going to quickly go through this and show you line 2 again. It's got the full name with $signs in the middle. And so we use this script step here. We're parsing with the delimiter with the $sign for the first name and the last name. If we go to text 3, oops, that's not right, text 3, it's just a standard address, easy to read. Go to text 4. Now this one is a little bit more complicated here. And what it is, it's got your license. So you got license here for text 4. It's got the expiration date. It's got the year and the date. So that's where that's kind of this section of code right here. Is it's grabbing, and looks like the birthday's in there as well. Yeah, birthday's in there as well. So you got a lot of information on this one single line, and that's why this custom function is so great, is because it takes out all the heavy lifting for you. Really cool stuff here. So you got your license with the middle function, you got your left with the year function, get current date function. A lot of cool stuff happening in there. Birthday, you've got middle with the text 4. Looking for the position here. Cool, really good stuff here. So if I were to continue on, just kind of give you guys an idea of what all those different values are. This is text 5, which is what is text 5?
That's
like,
if that's
say that again.
oh, if text, I think that's the fact that I'm a Class C license in the California.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. There it is. So it looks like we actually don't use line 5 in this custom function. But if you wanted to, you could absolutely put that in there. That's what's great about
so let
custom
me
functions.
pause here real quick. I'm gonna quit sharing your screen for a moment. I've got a couple other cards here we're gonna play with. So do we have that one? Can you give me that one sample string though? Can you send it to me in my? Well, let's see. Where would you put it? Put it in the new record in the database. Put the test string for me in the new record in database. In like a text
Okay.
note on the very like you're at record 912. Give me 913.
Okay, 913.
And we commit that and save it. And then, all right, so let me go over here. Where is it actually at?
It's going to be in the notes at the bottom.
Oh, there it is. Okay, great. So this is 913. So this is the text right here. So let's play with this a little bit, and then we'll talk about some other cards. Well, I'm just going to play some other cards here so you folks can see what's going on. I haven't done any of this yet, so this is all going to be like a brand new sort of deal. Let me see. There we go. Here's the text. I'm going to put this up here. Questions are coming up. Margaret, if you have questions, let me know. So
there is kind of one, but I don't know if we have the answer.
Okay. What's the
any
question?
idea if all U.S. licenses use the same format?
No, I would be shocked if they do. I would be seriously shocked if they
I'm
did.
trying to look to see if that. I don't think they do.
All right, so here is what came out of the California driver's license, right? Remember, in the United States, all the states operate very differently with different sorts of rules and regulations and things like that. So let me take a look. So here's my Costco card. So for those of you, I'm going to put my camera back up here, so we're going to play with this just a little bit. So I have no idea what's going to happen with my Costco card, right? Ready for the Costco card? So this is my Costco card, right? Woo, right? So what happens if I swipe that one? I'm going to move it over here. We'll see what happens. So understand that it'll be a block of text that'll look like that, but it'll have different stuff in it, probably, right? 1, 2, 3. Let me do it a couple times just to make sure I'm getting the same thing. Okay, so what is that? Yeah, it's my membership number there. No, I don't know what that. Oh, it's a membership number with some other stuff munged in. So this is not on my name or anything like that. So on the back of the card is my name, my expiration, and how long I've been a member, and even a little tiny crappy picture of me down there, right? But all they did is put part of the membership number on there. I guess that's all they use in their computer system. Interesting. So what else do we have? We have my AAA card. I've got another card here. What's your AAA card? What happens with the AAA card? It's like if I run out of gas and I call for gas. Richard Carlton, some stuff. Yeah, whatever that's all about. So yeah, I don't have any clue what this stuff is. Part of it's my membership numbers in there. I'm thinking there's that one number. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't have any other really other than my name is in there. That's about it. So in terms of personal identifying information, right? So interesting. So when you build this in application, you're going to need to figure out how the data is being encoded on the MagStripe, and then figure out how to parse it apart and then break it with a custom function or some sort of set fields. We cover this, a practical exercise of doing that in our video training. In our paid FileMaker 19 video training course, we have a number of videos where we progressively go through this big block of text of extracting it and parsing an address apart, and tips and tricks and things for doing that, right? So very, very, very interesting. So they don't store JSON. Yeah. Maybe someday they might, or it would be JSON, but by the time it gets put in the keyboard, it's not. Now, I want to point out something really interesting here. So when we originally built this right here, this will blow your mind, but when we originally built this right here, I don't know why this is all gray like that. Let me see. Let me change it to like black so I can see this stuff. So what you have down here, I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. We were having a hell of a time earlier today getting the demo to work consistently. It's one of those things that we don't use a lot of. And so we broke it out, so we're using it, and suddenly it's not working consistently. And what was happening is that sometimes in our testing, we would have periods in here, and sometimes we would not have periods in here. And what the issue is apparently a bug in FileMaker. It's got to be it's a bug in FileMaker because it doesn't do it anywhere else. So if I click into a text field, a text like a text application, and I swipe, I was getting consistently the correct data. The periods are correct. However, when you press this button right here, we go to a layout, and the layout is over here called add concealed. Okay, and what we did is as you would swipe in here, it would put is this concealed or non-concealed? Oh, you didn't put the conceal back on here. I'll do that for you. So what we use is this option over here on the right side. The control style is concealed. It was a newer thing that they added FileMaker over the last probably 3 releases or something, 3 major releases. And it's called the conceal edit box. So as you put data in the system, you're typing in a password, you get these bullets. So here is the oh my God moment, right? And I don't even know if I'm going to bother submitting this to Claris. If you have a magnetic device like this and it's feeding into a text file, a Word file, or anything like that where it's just on screen typing in, it does it correctly. If you click it into a text field on a screen, a text field, which would just a regular text field, it works correctly. You get all the correct characters, including the periods. If you put it with the conceal option where it's hiding it, and then you take the data out of there, all the periods have been replaced. Were they replaced or removed? They were replaced with spaces, I think, right? Because the character count was the same, but the periods were gone. Completely screws up all your formulas because you're expecting periods to be there. They're gone. Why? Because the conceal box doesn't. And if you type a period, it works. Like I can type over here a period, and that's actually a real period, right? But but remember this, what's special about this, it types at really high speed. And so when it types at high speed into a conceal box, Claris's code from Claris, the people at Apple can't handle that, and it freaks out and it loses the period, right? So it's a real kind of an interesting edge case, I would say. In the business, we call that an edge case. But you don't have to have the field on, to type into a field, you have to have the field on screen. You could go into layout mode. So if I go into the mock data over here, and I go and I say scan, so it puts a card on the window, but it can't really edit it from there very easily because you're in the card. So I'm going to manually go over here. I'm going to go to this one here. I'm going to go to layout mode. My brain kind of sidetracked because I got derailed by that. I didn't mean to close it. But the whole point of this issue is over here is that the conceal box, as it's going in here real fast, it's munging the inbound data. Something with the conceal process munges the periods. It munges the periods at high speed. So if you're doing barcode scanning, 2D barcode scanning into a concealed field, you need to watch and make sure that data is consistent with a non-concealed field in FileMaker. So y'all following me on this? Yeah, what a weird bug. Yeah. Yeah, Mark is talking about some different things in Washington, D.C. with different. Yeah, there's some wikis on this. You can look them up. But remember, each of the states in the United States are really like, in a lot of ways, the 50 states in the United States are really like about 50 different really small countries that are that are mandated to get along with each other, right? And if they don't get along, then they get spanked, right? Basically, this United States. So a lot of the times the rules, like the speed limits and things like, they try to keep things consistent because they don't want to screw people up. Like in Nevada. Like at one point in Utah, you could have like more than one married spouse. So a wife could have more than one husband, husband have more than one wife. And then they outlawed that in Utah, so all the states were kind of consistent. But some of the rules are consistent from state to state in the United States. Sometimes they're not, right? And so they try not to have like major things like, murder is legal in Michigan, but it's not legal in Illinois, right? Stuff like that. So major rules are supposed to be consistent. The encoding on your driver's license is not considered an essential consistency item, right? So, right. So keep that in mind. Lynn says, a couple questions here. Margaret, are you watching the stuff here? Does every license in every state have the data same? No, they're different.
That's what I was answering, so because I didn't
Yeah.
want to derail.
Yeah, and then Lynn said, or you wrote back, format is very similar. Yeah. So yeah, that's the rub with this. They're a little bit different, and so if I was going to roll out a card and I was going to do a card, I would do the card with a mag stripe on it. But I also, because that's the thing. I mean, the reason that the driver's license thing. Here's the thing. A lot of people will scan the information on the driver's license and they don't have access to the DMV database. If you actually control the database, think about this. If you actually control the database, all you need is like a barcode. You only need the serial number, the Costco, like the Costco card. It doesn't have all my other information. This has my serial number, my primary membership ID, because it gets that and then it looks it up, right? That was another thing that we had done in the database here to make life a little simpler for people, is if we went to a database and you wanted to find someone rapidly, you could say find someone, and you could swipe their card, and then instead of it adding the record, you just get the essential elements out of there, and then you do a find. And it's mad at me. I have to rescan my license. Let me try that again. See if it'll work. So here we go. It's mad at me. So yeah, so you get the idea. That'll be one of those things you'll have to test, Michael. But yeah, we had all sorts of consistency issues with that, and it turned out to be two things that completely wiped out my morning. Was one, a low quality MagStripe reader, and the other one was the conceal bug in FileMaker, where if you have it feed data directly into a concealed bug, the periods will be swapped. One or more characters will be swapped out for another character. I don't know if it's on purpose. I kind of doubt it, but yeah, because if you type it, type, and you put a period in there at finger speed, at slower speed, it'll do it correctly. It's at high speed where it fails. So it sounds like a JavaScript plus web viewer can work around this bug, I guess. Well, yeah, or you just make this font size 1 when you're doing it, or up in the corner. That's what I was going to say. So one of the tricks from the olden days, back in 1912, when I walked barefoot to school, snow uphill both ways, and I rode a horse to school, and I had to feed the horse and all that, is that if you went over here to this and you didn't want to have the field displayed, you would just make the field size 1 up in the corner, right? And you would, or do it completely off the side of the screen. So I guess we could try it like this. Size, custom size 1. And it looks kind of trashy like that. We know it'll work, right? So I can go back, and this is like an old school trick. I just showed it's like me saying 8-track tapes. I just like, for those of you, but some of you have never even heard of that before. The field's still on there. The computer still sees it, but it's a 1 point size font. So if I try this, let me just try adding myself in here, add the scan. Then you'll probably, I'm on the wrong layout. Oh, let me do that. Sorry, wrong layout, cancel. I'm on the wrong layout. I need to be on the other one. I need non-concealed or concealed? Oh, I need this one. Okay. So I'm going to go size, font size 1 point. And then I'm going to put it in the upper corner. And what ends up happening is that it'll probably make like a little squiggly like thing up there, a little squiggly graphic that'll look stupid. You can always tell an old FileMaker person they do stuff like this, like hacks. So anyway, let's try that. Let's see what that does. And I think moving it off screen would probably work too. Okay, you see that? So it worked, right? That was great. That was fantastic, right? So you see what happened? It did it there, and you're like, wow, it's such a hack. So watch. Here, let me zoom in on this for everyone so everyone can keep an eye on this. This is welcome to I'm really too old to be doing this. Okay, ready? I'm going to swipe this. Watch up there, the little thingy right there, 1 size font. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. That was it. So such a subtle little hack. Oh my God, stuff from 30 years ago still works. It's so awesome. All right. So the other one was to see if we could move it off the screen, because there were some changes with FileMaker. I don't know, the 19.3 or 19.4. So here, it's, of course, grabbing it's kind of a pain in the ass. Let me see if I can. There it is. So if I move it over here off the screen, will it still work? So now it's there, but it's not on the screen. And so let's try that. Once again, educational for everyone. Because some of this stuff has changed recently. So it's like, hey, does it work? Not really. Okay, here we go. So it's off the side of the screen. We're not going to see it move at all. Will it process it correctly? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it worked. So off the screen works as on the screen. Yeah. So, but remember back 33 years ago when I was barefoot walking in the school, walking the snow in the school with my pony, that there was no off screen. And when you were in layout mode, notice how that we have this area over here on the right that is this grayed off area that's kind of dead over here. This is like the printable, it's like the area that the people can see in browse mode, and this is what the developer sees. This didn't exist. If it was on the layout, it was live. Everyone could see it. There was no like dead area. So that's why we ended up doing this little hackery stuff. So anyway, keep that in mind. All right, questions. It's a hack from Ed. Yes. Ed says, what are you doing to hide the swipe data if the conceal screws it up? That's what I'm saying. We're not using conceal. It's actually, if I went over there to the font, the field and I grabbed it, I made it bigger, you could read it. But it's a 1-point size font, which is kind of impossible to read. So it's either on screen, it makes a little squiggle line, or it's off the screen, you never even notice it. I kind of like seeing a little squiggle line move, because then you know things are happening. But, you know, I mean, I can't remember the last time you ever saw that. You went to you went to a credit card swipey place, and the way it works at most grocery store stuff, you swipe it, and then everyone holds their breath while it tries to go, right? There's no like visual feedback. So anyway, cool.
Okay, so we have one other question from Drew Simpson. Would it be better if you tried scanning the 2D barcode found on the back of most driver's licenses?
I think it would. I don't have a 2D barcode gun in front of me besides my phone. I could try to do it, but I didn't want to try to jury rig that at the last second. I thought about that. I'm like, yeah, it seems to me if a scan gun and or camera on a device is more reliable than this mechanical mechanism. Because how many times you go to the, like my wife, my wife has a driver's license from the state of California. Once again, I don't have a lot to say about the state of California, right? So this is lovely. You'll like this. So as an example, now maybe Ed, where you're at, it works much better. But so we were having problems with my wife's driver's license, and I'm like, so you see that there is a specific dimensions, right? There's a couple inches, millimeters over here. Then there's so many. I'm talking left and right here, laterally on this card, right? And so I was like getting these weird results, and it wouldn't work. And I held the cards up, and I think what the way the state of California does them is they print these on a. I don't think they kick them out individually, or maybe they do. Whatever. The point is that however they make this, I thought they were like on a big sheet, and they would cut it with a stamp, like a stamp it. And you have a die, high pressure die, because on hers, the MagStripe is actually, relative to the card itself, is over about 3 millimeters this way, or 4 millimeters. It was actually outside the normal range of what you would expect the MagStripe to be. And California's like, it's good, no problem, right? So she has a driver's license that doesn't really work even if you have a brand new device like this. It's very sketchy because it's only seeing the data sometimes, depending on how you push it in there. Because it's supposed to be at a specific depth, certain specific physical specifications it's very sensitive to. And a lot of people, they use these things a lot, and all this stuff is going on. And then they start to see rips and streaks where the magnetic stuff is wearing off, right? So if you had an optical system like this, it wouldn't have to be precisely printed in a spot. It could be kind of anywhere. It could be kind of crooked. As long as it wasn't chopped off the side, your scan gun, I'm not allowed to use the word gun, scan gun or scan device-y pointy thing with a laser at the end, scan gun would be able to capture that. So I think it's more forgiving to do it optically. I think it's more reliable to do it optically. I think it's less likely to wear. I mean, when was the last time you ever heard of a barcode being worn out by being overscanned? The only way these things get worn out by going in and out of a physical device that touches it, right? Or it's in and out of your wallet so many times that it starts to wear, right? That's why I've got these wear marks on the back, like right there at the bottom of that barcode. That's because it's going in and out of my wallet, right? Makes sense? So maybe they should put it up in the middle or give me a new card or whatever, right? But anyway, so interesting stuff. So other questions we have. Tomorrow we're going to be covering a different topic, Margaret. What are we doing tomorrow? Do you remember what we're doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Mr. Leland Long.
Leland Long. We haven't talked about that. Leland's probably hiding out. So tomorrow is going to be the opposite of today. Today is like kind of basic, kind of intermediate, FileMaker kind of stuff. Leland's, just as a heads up for what's coming, Leland coded a bunch of stuff in FileMaker. He's done this stuff before. Leland is the guy who built the add-on for millisecond processing testing to your FileMaker server. People say, FileMaker's slow, right? Well, it could be that, okay, as a developer, you suck. B, the person's network sucks because they're watching Netflix or Apple TV or something at the same time they're trying to FileMaker. Or their kids are all doing that and they're trying to FileMaker and they have very bad network performance. So the way to test that was with latency, network latency. He built the little add-on, drag and drop add-on about a year ago that did that. He is really an awesome guy, very technically sharp. And so he was at Pause and Error. We got to meet him, see him there. And so he found some stuff in FileMaker wasn't working really great. So he rewrote it in JavaScript. It had some insightful thoughts about that. We thought we would share those insightful thoughts with everyone else. Cool. All right. Any final questions we have for the day? And everyone, welcome to our new time slot of daylight savings time or whatever is on or off or whatever we're doing, right? Ed, anything, baby? Drew?
I don't see any questions on Twitch or YouTube.
And then Larry, bring your thinking cap because Wednesday is going to be training for the certification test, the tougher questions. All right, cool. All right, I'm going to try our new closing video, all right, you folks. So see if you recognize anyone in the video. Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!